What is going on, guys? So we have an exciting and more informal video in store for you, and that is a Nike Metcon 7 first impressions video. This is not a formal review. I have not worn or tested these to their fullest extent yet, and this is not a comparison. So we will dive into like Metcon 6, Metcon 7, and React Metcon Turbo versus Metcon 7 later on once I can fully test these. But I do want to go over just some first impression thoughts with these two models. I've worn the Metcon 7 now to go grab a coffee and walk the dogs and also do some light workouts with some kettlebells in my apartment. And there is a lot going on with this shoe, and I know you likely have had a ton of questions about the shoe, including like release dates, because that has been a total crapshoot, but we'll dive into that later. But let's go over some of my first impression thoughts of the Nike Metcon 7. And for the record, we have the traditional Nike Metcon 7 here and the Nike Metcon 7 Mat Fraser for all my folks who may not be that keen of CrossFit. So with the Nike Metcon 7, there is a lot going on, which makes sense because every other Nike Metcon model, we tend to get a lot of updates. We got a lot of updates compared to the 4, to the 5, and now to the 6, to the 7. We're getting a nice slew of changes to the Nike Metcon shoe, which has caused some folks to say, F that, we don't want that, and some to be like, that is a really sick shoe. But we're gonna go ahead and test those later on. But from a first impression standpoint, looking at the Nike Metcon 7 Mat Fraser, I think this shoe is sick, to be quite honest. I'm usually not the biggest fan of like signature models, but like the black appearance and the gold palette texture is really sick. We have the championship rings out here on the heel. We have the Mat Fraser signature on the medial side under this rubber wrap, so that's not gonna fade anytime soon. And something that's interesting is that when you get this, it will have a little sticker here that says the chrome finish will flake off with use over time. So if you do get this model, do note that it's gonna perform just as well as the Nike Metcon 7. However, you may see a little bit of the flaking with the chrome finish if you are getting a little bit more of a friction on this shoe and where the chrome finish is physically put on the shoe. Now, looking at the Nike Metcon 7, let's go over some of the major construction changes. So right out of the gate, the heel itself has been fully reworked. We still have that nice heel clip back here. We have a nice like TPU layer that has a little bit of flexibility there that they're saying helps with running. We'll see about that. But overall, from like a stability standpoint, it seems to be pretty on the money with providing a nice base for the heel. And we also have like that Hyperlift built in as opposed to having those inserts that you could put in with this model. So I'm curious to see the heel to toe offset. I'm guessing it went up in this model. It feels a bit higher than the Nike Metcon 6, but I'm gonna wait till we get some official details from Nike on that before I say anything definitive in nature. We also have a newly edition medial rubber lip that comes up through this whole medial midfoot. And that is said to be for rope climbing. I could take it or leave it, to be honest. I usually think that the outsole that wraps up on the medial and lateral side is enough. This seems to be a bit heavy, but I mean, if it prolongs the durability of the shoe, like, I don't think that's ever a bad thing. So it's like take it or leave it. I don't think it's gonna really impact the overall shoe as a whole. So if you don't like that, I feel like it's a tiny detail to work around as the whole shoe is pretty freaking awesome thus far. Up here on the tongue, we have this lace lock system. So basically you could pull this down, put this down, and it locks the laces in. I mean, obviously you'll want to tuck the laces if you're training and you're really worried about the laces coming undone, but that's interesting. I'm not sure how that's going to work and if the Velcro is going to go the distance because this is a slightly finer Velcro. So we'll see how it holds up, to be honest. I'm curious to see how it holds up in like dustier settings or gyms that may not be the most cleanly, and if the Velcro actually loses some of its like tenacity to stay down, or if you even really need it, because if the laces stay secure on their own, which these laces feel pretty good as is, they're not like the really big thick loop laces that come undone, you should be pretty fine, I think, without having to use this. So we'll have to see. I'm sure in the Nike Metcon 8, there'll be enough feedback that Nike, I don't know, will keep this or we'll see what happens. Throughout the upper here, we have a breathable mesh. We have some synthetic layers up here on the toe box, which is a good sign for durability. And then running up the midfoot here, we have a slightly wider midfoot here for the lacing system. We have the flywire integrated in on the lateral side on these 3 eyelets out here. And overall, I really do enjoy this construction for the lacing because it doesn't really overlap down here towards the forefoot. So at the bottom of the laces, which some cross trainers in the past have. So from an aesthetics and just an overall security standpoint, I really like that about the Nike Metcon 7 construction. And then making our way to the outsole, full rubber outsole here, we have this TPU little towards the heel. Honestly, it reminds me kind of like the Nike ROM, how it has this similar material, and a lot of weightlifting shoes actually that have like, it's more like cut out heel section back here. So that is really interesting. And then something that a lot of folks have commented on is like the numbers on this shoe. Like, what do these numbers mean? And like, I'm pretty sure the consensus on social media is that they stand for certain aspects of the shoe when it comes to what they're designed to support with performance. And that is exactly on the money, because when we take out the insole here, it gives us a list of everything that this model does when it comes to its performance changes. So if you ever forget what 001 means, apparently it means squat, which would mean that this TPU layer down here is designed to help you with your squats. I don't know, I kind of like it. I don't really mind the numbers, but I could see some not necessarily loving the numbers on the shoe. And we'll see if like all the colorways have the numbers on them, or if it's just like the initial colorway and initial like first Metcon 7 to drop, we will see. And then lastly, we do have the Nike React foam throughout the shoe. So in the React Metcon Turbo, the React Metcon foam was actually part of the insole. As you can see, like I just pulled the insole out in this model. It is just a thin layer. And then we got that React foam throughout the shoe here, throughout the midsole. So you can see like we have a good amount of compression there and a lot of reactivity. So when it comes to just the overall comfort, when wearing the shoe just for walks and stuff, we get a lot of toe box action. Like it's my first day wearing these and the toe box already feels decently flexible and comfortable, which to be honest, I think is a really good sign. The Metcon 6 and Metcon 5 were a little bit tough to break in, took a couple workouts. This, I don't think you're gonna have that issue with. And overall, when it comes to pricing, $130 for the Nike Metcon 7, $140 for the Nike Metcon 7 Mat Fraser. And I think that is the gist of the construction features. I know I probably missed maybe one or two, but that's why we have full in-depth reviews where we also talk about performance, sizing, comparisons, and everything else. And I will get to that, I promise, in the near future. If you're new here to the channel, consider subscribing. I put out a lot of fitness and training shoe content, and if you love those two verticals, then I think you'll like the channel, so give it a consideration. But overall, guys, this is kind of my first ever informal / formal first impressions video of a training shoe launch. So let me know how you think I did in the comments below. I'm sure I missed some things, so if you ever want to see a deeper dive into something or some vertical when it comes to like a first impressions video, which I'm very newbie at, hit me in the comments below, let me know. But as always, guys, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys when we are dropping some reviews on these.